na 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 na.
Square round table. You know, you need to tune in if you want to hear So we Chad, Josh, Dmitrius and Marcus every Friday. You know.
It's the square round table.
Tune in.
It's the square round table podcast. Let's have a blast. I know at work you had a long day. Just relax and tune in.
Welcome back, our freaks and geeks. Today we're gonna have a review of the new Antman 3. Was it the Kang Dynasty?
Quantumania.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm ahead.
Yeah.
All right. My bad.
Antman,
But
you gotta make sure you say Antman and the Wasp.
Antman and the Wasp. I'm sorry, I was ahead of myself because I think Kang. Before we get to our review, I think Kang was really doing good in this movie. Like he did a really good job. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's my mistake right there.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure you say the Wasp though.
Antman and the Wasp. Quantumania. I'm sorry, I got
even though the Wasp didn't do anything in the movie.
Yeah, she was there for a couple moments, but she wasn't really.
They
wasn't there for a lot
downplaying my
of
girl Hope, man. I love.
They did.
They
did.
At least she finally got her comic book accurate suit though.
And they gave her the cut.
Yeah.
They gave her the haircut.
Yeah, the short bob and then the yellow and black. So we got something.
So we got something.
You can't win them all.
Marcus, what are your thoughts on the new Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania?
The new Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Like, where do you want to start with this?
What are my thoughts? I'm just gonna come out the gate and say it like this.
All right, put it out there.
This was not a Kang level movie.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And I felt like they just wanted to force it because they needed to have a new baddie for this new phase. Because it's feeling like a lot of stuff is rushed right now, and I don't know why they're rushing. Like they have a big competitor right now to compete with. I don't get why.
I don't see it.
Rushing, but whatever, that's something for another day. But I definitely felt that the villain was misplaced, and the story they tried to build around it almost I couldn't grasp it. Like I get it, he was in the quantum realm with Janet and blah, 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 but it's almost okay, but was he really? Because why did she never mention it before? Why did she never warn him, hey, we can never go back in there because it's not safe. So let's never play with the quantum realm again. But she never mentioned any of that. And it's almost like they backtracked on her character because how did she keep that secret? But when she came out, she was like, "Oh, I have so much to tell you guys." So what did you tell them? Because it seems like you left out like half of the story when you was talking to them. That was something that bothered me. I enjoyed like the world of the quantum realm. Like it was cool to see how stuff was and like different characters. And I thought it was funny that people that look like humans was like, "Oh, what's a human?" I thought stuff like that was cool.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of excitement in there. Some of the jokes were okay.
Yeah,
but I think another thing too is this Young Avengers thing is killing a lot of stuff too because they're trying to establish that having Cassie. She already got a suit. She's been working with Hank and Hope, and they got this whole relationship, but Scott doesn't know. I feel like we missed out on too much, and it didn't feel like we jumped into it, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I knew that happened. It was just like, yeah, this is Ant-Man, and this is what's been going on since. It's just, I don't know, man. I felt like it was something missing. I ain't even say I'm not even trying to say they had to explain it or show it, but it just felt like we missed so much.
Yeah, I agree.
It felt like we missed a lot.
It felt like there should have been maybe a bigger recap in between. Like at the beginning, they should have recapped a little bit better because like they just made it seem, oh yeah, last thing we had talked about was the Avenger level stuff with Thanos and stuff like that. Nothing else happened in between that. No conversations, no villains, no everything just was like, oh, I didn't know about that. But I think I agree with you with your opinion on Kang. I said that too. When I heard that Kang was going to be in the movie, I was like, that's a bad miscast. That's a bad mismatch because Kang just seemed like Ant-Man couldn't hang with him.
They
And
don't.
it proved through the movie that he couldn't hang with him.
They don't even fight like that
Yeah.
outside in the comics. Yeah, when he's with the Avengers, but it's Ant-Man don't go one-on-one with Kang the Conqueror.
Like ever. Not
The only reason they did it is because he dealt with the quantum realm,
yeah.
and that was their best way of doing it. If it wasn't for that, I don't think it wouldn't even be. He wouldn't be in that movie because it felt so misplaced.
It did. And here's the thing. I was thinking that we were gonna get like a, let's say, a weaker version of Kang, but like that Kang seemed like he was stopping a lot of the other Kang from moving.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like he was that dude. Like he was the one that like, hey, with me, you're gonna win. Like he told him, he was like, if you do this with me, I can guarantee they're not gonna be doing anything. But I will say the one thing I did like is that whenever Jonathan Majors acted out Kang, he was
Oh,
a
he was
threat.
great.
I believed every single time that he said something. He was talking about erasing people from the timeline or other versions of himself from the timeline. I was like, yeah, you will. I don't doubt it.
I was like, man, he ain't shit. He ain't no joke.
It ain't no joke. And then he pulled his training from, like I said before the podcast, he pulled his training from Creed out of nowhere and started beating my dude's butt.
Two-piece.
And it just seemed like he wasn't gonna lose. They really had to find like a something to get the win because Ant-Man wasn't doing it, Wasp wasn't doing it, his daughter wasn't doing it,
Cassie wasn't doing it.
Pym and
What
what's
about
her name?
speaking of Pym? What about the damn ants taking him out?
MacGuffin, but that it was like it was bad. Here's the thing. He like Kang was like, you talked to Ant, they called him out, and then that was the reason that he lost. It was
I said, come on, bro.
it
was too on the nose, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's too on the nose with that thing. And also they like brought him into the quantum realm and then they didn't really talk about him that much. It was like you got like hints to it, but it wasn't like clear like that. It wasn't super clear about it. Every so often he'd hit his ear or whatever like that, and you're like, oh, okay, he's interference or whatever like that.
Yeah, I was like,
and I did like some of the humor, the jokes with him, but like I said before the show, it's like it was a level Guardians of the Galaxy level humor in an Ant-Man movie. It fit like the jokes were more catered to that kind of like movie where it's not to be taken too seriously, which the movie for the most part wasn't supposed to be. Like, and I think that's, like I said, Paul Rudd's wheelhouse is, I said this before to someone else, like his wheelhouse is like comedic time. Like he's good at being the goofy character, and that's what it works, and that's why the movie worked so well for prior to this worked so well. You want to talk about how you feel about MODOK?
Yeah, and before I say that, that's the go to your point. That's exactly why it's not a Kang type of movie because of what you just said. The comedy of it is not supposed to be taken so serious, and not to say that Kang is just super serious with a threat of that type. It doesn't work out the same. If anything, if you was gonna have him in this movie, I say he should have been at the very end, and it was a reveal that he was there and he built the empire. But they just based the whole thing off of they had to go up against him. Because I would have been okay with MODOK being the main villain because it fits that, what that trilogy has already established in the type of layout that they already had and the type of formula of comedy and stuff. Because MODOK is Darren. It works because Darren hated Scott in the first film, and to see him look like that, it's funny. But then at the same time, it's like, of course he would be the perfect villain to fight him because he wants revenge against him.
Yeah,
and then that could explain like why he had all the soldiers and stuff, and that would have had people thinking, oh, look, Darren was down there getting his stuff together because he knew Scott. Maybe he knew Scott was there for a few seconds, or maybe he overheard stuff and blah, blah. Just little ways to play off of it. You do that, and then at the end, you can set up Kang, so that way when we get to the next film that's supposed to introduce Kang like as the main villain to fight against the Avengers, it's like, oh, okay, that's what it was. Like, I know Chad said it a lot. We don't get the same build up with Kang that we did with Thanos, which is, it's really unruly because Kang is like up there with Thanos as far as villains in Marvel Comics. When you talk about Thanos, you talk about Kang, you talk about Goliath, you talk about Doctor Doom. Like he's up in that conversation. So to have him just be put out there so fast and revealing this, oh yeah. But the reason why we done it because it's more than one variant of him. So I'm like, it's a cop. This whole like variant and multiverse thing is really hurting them in a way because they're using it a lot to explain why they're doing certain things so fast, and it's like piling on top of each other very fast.
Yeah, it's used to explain what they can't. It's used to explain how to explain it. It's like how they explain things like how they explain a different version of something, or how they explain where this takes place. Oh, it takes place in the multiverse. We're getting back to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like anytime they wanted to explain anything, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is the Illuminati," but they're not our Illuminati. Don't know. This is this universe Illuminati. This is the multiverse. This is this, that, the other. Oh, well, that's not. If we're gonna get into the what if series, that's not our version of Killmonger. That's another universe
Yeah, that's
version of it,
another Earth.
or another
Yeah.
Ultron from a different what's the name. And it gets to the point to where you realize where it's like it gets to the point. We all say it all the time. The stakes, the stakes, the stakes, the stakes. Like what Kang right now, with the fact of Ant-Man taking him out with whatever, how he did in the movie, the threat's not there. Like it's there, but it's not.
It's no high stakes.
Like we know Kang's threat, but the movie, if Ant-Man can get the W, like why am I really worried about him?
It was never really any high stakes. It was almost like, oh dang, they got away again. He almost got him again. He was so close. Oh man, they found a way somehow. It's almost like when you was watching it, you was like, oh, they're gonna make it. They're gonna be okay. Like you never felt, oh my God, everybody's gonna die.
Exactly,
I
because
never felt like that the whole movie. Like when he was beating Scott's ass, I was like, oh, he'll be all right because they're gonna find some way to save him and stop
yeah,
it and kill him. And I was
exactly. It's
like,
because it's at the end of the
okay,
day, that his thing, because you knew Ant-Man wasn't gonna die. You knew this. He walked
yeah,
into that theater saying, "Okay, he's gonna find a way. We're not gonna know how he's gonna do it, and we're not
but
gonna,
it's gonna
it's
happen.
gonna happen." And here's the
Yeah,
thing: they had a moment, and I talked to you before the podcast, where I actually was like, "Okay, if they do this and they leave it alone, I'm interested." When he sacrificed himself to go into the quantum realm to keep Kang from going out, that right there were stakes. They were there.
and then they completely took it away.
Get away.
Like
Like
it
that.
wasn't even a minute. It was like seconds. It's like I was like, oh yeah, he finna get him. He finna be either Scott finna die, he finna be stuck. Then I seen her jump through that. I was like,
Right? When she jumped through, I was like, see, that would have been cool. That I would have been like, okay. At the end of the day, Scott might die or he might be stuck there, but Hope can train old girl to get her ready to be the next Ant-Man for the Young Avengers. And like you said before, Young Avengers, that stuff is happening stuff because it's like they're
that's their
introducing it.
focal point, man.
They're introducing it like they're not introducing it in a way that's like gradual. They're like, oh hey, yeah, she got her suit, she got this, that, the other. It'd have been cool if like at the end of the movie she had been working through her suit or whatever like that throughout the movie, and her first time putting it on was during the end. Like that was her first time in suit, this, that, the other, and that was her first time being in it, and her
And that
learning
was
the
another
ropes.
thing. It was like, oh yeah, I have a suit, Dad. Like where? When? How? Like nothing is really explained to us. It's all just thrown at us. And they expect us to get it from a 20-minute montage voiceover narration by Scott at the beginning. Oh
Right,
yeah,
right.
like if they wanted to come off with a bang with this movie, and if they really was trying to sell Kang as the big bad, I would have had a whole opening sequence with Kang before he even got to the quantum realm, and like what he was doing right before he got there, just to show how menacing he is, because then it builds the threat of him and why he's like, why Janet is so afraid and all that. Instead of them doing that BS with her touching the orb and
Yeah, I was about to say
then no, show that before she even does all that, because then it gives more weight to why she's shaking about him. Because if we see it at the beginning, when she first that they got stuck there and she realizes what she came back to, then we're like, oh man, we that he was reckless. He was a one-man wrecking crew. Because then if she tells how she found out about it by touching the orb, then it's like, oh yeah. Like it's more convincing. But like to just throw it all in there and have him at the beginning just show him crashing there and it's, oh, where am I? And I'm helpless. No, man. No. I'm so tired of those openings where the dude crash lands somewhere and he need help. It's been done like 1,000 times, bro.
it's a cliche at this point.
Yeah, it's a big cliche. And see, I think they're missing out on so many opportunities. Because even going back to what you said, it was interesting that you brought up the Illuminati. Because I said this to Chad about a couple of months ago. No, it was right before I think I went to see the movie. I said if they really wanted to be like some straight killers and just go all out. When they did Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and they had the Illuminati, remember that empty chair, right?
Yeah.
I remember when Reed popped up and then they had Professor X come in there. Right after that, all you would have heard is like the thrusters from the Iron Man suit. And you see an Iron Man suit coming out. And it's like it's silver and red, right?
Yeah.
And when the faceplate comes back, instead of nanotech too, no, it would be nanotech because it's a more futuristic suit. When it comes back, it's Jonathan Majors. Because remember, he comes from the future to go back in time as Iron Lad for the Avengers. And even if it wasn't, and I'm just saying that because since that's another universe, he could have been older by that time and been on the Illuminati because that Iron Man, Tony, is dead in that universe too. I was like, it's so many opportunities where you could have brought Kang in a movie before this because when you said multiverse and when you did No Way Home, those were two opportunities to have Kang mentioned before you got to Ant-Man. Because now when you throw him in Ant-Man, it's like, oh, really, Ant-Man? I don't think Ant-Man like Kang.
Because the crazy part about it is, and I'm definitely a great point, but they mentioned him in Loki, and then after that, he was like radio silent for how long? Like he
3-4 movies?
Yeah, he was a main focal point in Loki and what was going on there. And He Who Remains, or I think that's what it was. Yeah, He Who Remains.
Was He Who Remains.
And they made it seem like once He Who Remains dies, they're gonna be coming out the woodwork. We're gonna be seeing them everywhere.
Yes.
And for nothing. 3 or 4 movies, nothing, not even a mention, and they were messing with time and multiverse.
That's what I'm saying. They're breaking the time barrier and the timelines he created and had put in order. That was like messing everything up. So it's like, yeah, we ain't gonna see no Kang variants anywhere.
Not even like a lesser one, like one that they don't even like mess with that because he's too weak. You know what I mean?
Like you could have had in what No Way Home, you could have had him as like the professor out of school or something. Just something like you said, it's a weak version of him, so it's not that deep. Because now it's okay, which Kang was that? The Kang that's supposed to be that universe's Kang, or he came from another universe? Because he's the Conqueror, I think that's the one that goes through different ones. But it's okay. So if he goes through different ones, who's the Kang of that universe?
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, they're not doing a great job at like establishing him as a villain. Like it's not convincing. And it's so sad because Jonathan Majors does such a great job.
A great job. He does a great job at being multiple different versions of the same guy. Because there's an end credit scene, let's mention this real quick. The end credit scene, he was 3 different versions of the same dude.
And they all felt different. It didn't feel like the same guy playing 3 different people. It was like everybody had their individual like personality.
Exactly.
Even like the little ones in the crowd and stuff, that they showed. I was like, this dude is killing it, and y'all wasting that on a movie like this. I think this movie would have been a lot better without Kang because I love Ant-Man. I like the first 2 Ant-Man. They were great.
They were amazing.
and it dove right into like the science part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what they lost in this movie. They lost the science of it and went more into the whole time and all of that, which is cool with time in the universe because that kind of falls into science, but they really like lost that like spunk they had
Yeah, with the other two
Hope.
properties.
Like Hope almost became like a side character.
She did.
Yeah, so it's
And here's the thing: we're not gonna see another Kang because what's the next property? Guardians.
yeah, Guardians, and
We're not gonna see
I
Kang in
think the
that.
Marvels after that.
We're not
So
gonna see. We're not gonna see him in either one of those properties.
now that's
I
the
can
movie
guarantee.
he could have been in.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
Marvels.
Yeah, Marvels. But I don't think they're gonna have him in there.
Oh no, they not. They not.
I
They
don't.
won't
I
have
don't.
him
I
into
don't
the
see
Kang
him.
Dynasty. It's gonna be
And
that. I think that's gonna be
and that's bad.
because that's like what 2 years from now.
Yeah. And here's the thing:
Yeah,
Ant-Man didn't prove to me that Kang was a threat.
at all.
If
You can
here's what I
beat him
said,
that
if
easy,
Ant-Man can beat him, and he's supposed to be the strongest one, the other guys, you establish in the movie that he's the one that is holding back all the other King from moving.
exactly.
And Ant-Man beat him with some ants and
Bruh.
throwing him into the whatever. I think that was like the time screen or whatever the fuck that was.
Yes, bro.
I'm not convinced.
But let's just say this: it took them what 3 movies to beat Thanos? Was it 3 or 2? I can't remember. It was 2.
It was what was it? Infinity War, and then it was Endgame.
So it took them 2 whole movies to beat Thanos. But it took 10 movies to build up to Thanos.
Yeah.
They beat him in his first real appearance as like a bad guy that like where he actually fights somebody. It's like in Loki, that one was understood. I was like, okay, I get why, they killed him because it's kind of like he was almost daring her to do it. He was trying to warn her that, hey, I'm the nicest one out of everybody.
I'm the most polite one. I'm holding this stuff together.
I was okay when that happened because not only did they build up to that moment, it was already implemented, that he was there. So I was like, okay, that's cool. But this, it was just like, yeah, Ant-Man and his crew are gonna march in here and we're gonna beat Kang and we're gonna get the rebels in this little town and we're gonna fight against his army. Like, I was like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Kang Dynasty, I already know. Like, it's going to be a jumbled pile of mess because there's so much Kang that they got to fight. Think about it like this. If we're not seeing Kang for what, two more years, 2 movies, different movies, whatever like that.
They're going to throw it all at us.
It's going to be a 3-hour movie and they're going to throw so many Kangs at you're going to get tired by the time you see the last Kang. You're going to get so darn tired of them.
And like I told you, bro,
if they don't break that into a 2 to 3 like thing and give him some actual listen, I'm gonna be mad about it. I'm just gonna tell you right now, the review is not gonna be a great one because like the only thing that was really good about the Ant-Man that I really loved is like Kang's appearances and like the mid credit when we saw all the other ones. Like that was really good.
And then the end one with setting up Loki.
Yeah,
I honestly feel like Loki should have came out before this movie.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I felt it was like out of place.
Yeah, I think Loki should have came out and then they should have did this movie. It feels backwards as hell. Yeah,
it's crazy because they're like, oh, this movie is just like a part of a what's the name? So it's not even like a full phase. It's like a mini phase.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
So we're not getting the full phase that we got before because they don't want to spend 10 years on another build up or whatever like that. They want to just cram out little
they didn't
mini
even
art.
have to. They had after like God, even with the Eternals, you could have did it. You had like 4 movies before this that you could have. Bro, the Eternals were around since the beginning of time. You telling me y'all couldn't have Ramen like as Kang in that movie somewhere? They were in Egypt and everywhere else, and y'all couldn't have no version of Kang.
You couldn't have the one and have it to where we don't know what happened to the one that's in Egypt. You don't like really conclude it. You just leave it open. And then he pops up maybe popped up before, but going to the pre-timeline that we have now, he pops up in the not multiverse, but the new Ant-Man movie, and you're like, oh, they lost, or oh, this is a different timeline version of him, like he ran or something like that. You have many different options, but
like
they didn't do
nothing. I don't even remember what the post-credit scene was for Eternals, but it could.
Oh, he brought in Harry Styles as Thanos' brother.
Yeah, that's what it was. See how forgettable that was. That is what it was. Oh God, that was crazy. But yeah. See, you could have used him in that, like somehow, because I think what Loki was still on TV. It was on Disney Plus when that was
I
out, wasn't
think
it?
so. Like I said,
I think it was
the
just finishing
MCU's
up.
new phase has been like it's been
It's
pretty forgettable. Like
it has.
I'm
It
not. I
has.
don't. Here's the thing. I don't even remember when Mrs. Marvel and all those shows were around because it's been like it feels like it's been like that long,
It has.
but it
It
hasn't
has.
been though.
It
Like it's
hasn't. It's been only a few months. So, like I told you before, this is strike two. Strike one. Strike one was Wakanda Forever. And yes, to our viewers out there and whoever listens, I am a black man who did not like Wakanda Forever. It's possible. I don't care that it's a black thing, an all black cast and blah blah. That's not why I go to see films. I go to see films for good entertainment and something that's enjoyable. So, yeah, it's possible. That was strike one, and this is strike two. So, Marvel, you have one more strike for me.
and which one? What movie is that?
Oh, it's Guardians, because that's the next movie. It's their fault. They're the ones who released these movies this way. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can wait to the Marvels or I'll wait to Kang Dynasty. No, you don't get that chance because you're the one who want to put out 3 shows and 2 movies every year. So there you go. You got 3 strikes. You already used up 2 of them. You got one more, and that's
So,
it.
yeah, and we will definitely be reviewing that when it comes out. Best believe. I definitely want to give some thoughts about that when it does come out.
And y'all can comment and come at me and let me know if I'm wrong.
Definitely.
My feelings cannot be hurt. I would love to hear what you guys say. I love to have a good quality conversation with you guys, a debate, because we don't do arguments, we debate. We
Yeah,
adults.
exactly. If you disagree with our, how we
Yes.
talked about the movie and stuff like that, you're welcome to come to those comments down there and
Yeah,
talk to us,
comment
and
on it.
we'll take any comments, whatever, like that.
Because it may be something you enjoyed or something you seen that I didn't catch that you could maybe change my mind or maybe I could have a different outlook on it.
Yeah, like I said, I think I think I'm pretty stuck on what I felt about it and stuff like that. But the little things that you guys appreciated from it, then I'm cool with taking those into consideration and
Yeah.
stuff like that for sure. Because the world, the way the world looked or the quantum realm looked, it looked really, really cool. It was cool, really
It
cool.
did. It looked cool. I
Had a lot
like
of stuff going
Kang.
on with it.
I like that we got 2 comic book accurate suits in the movie
Yes.
with Kang and Hope. That was cool. I liked MODOK until they redeemed him.
Yeah. Like the look
I
of
didn't
MODOK,
like
it
that.
grew on me. Like the look, how he looked grew on me after like
Yeah.
seeing it
It
as
looked better than
MODOK.
I thought it was gonna look,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
The CGI head on the what's the name? I wish it had worked out a little bit better because that threw me for a minute. Like I told my friend, I was like, he looked better when he had the skull looking thing down on his face.
Yeah.
That looks way better than him revealing himself as his full
Yeah.
flesh face. But yeah, when they tried to redeem him, I was like, you didn't earn that. That's what I said. I said in the theater, I'm like, you didn't earn that.
Am I Avenger now? I was like, oh no. This is bad. Man, look, I haven't shaken my head so much at Marvel movies like this in the past few months that I've went to see these movies. Cause you gotta remember, Black Panther was what? That was November.
Mm-hmm.
So November, December, January, February. That's 4 months.
And I think you eye rolled or shake your head pretty hard at that thing because I just said outright, I was like, you didn't earn that, and I'm just sighing pretty hard. When he did it, I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like first and foremost, like the emotional attachment you want from me, I wasn't there for it because it was like it was such a drastic change from what we last saw him at. It wasn't like there was a good time of like movie. Like maybe we saw him before he got defeated and he came back later on in the movie, like a good chunk of time went by. Maybe, but it was like what, like 10 minutes? 10 minutes between her saying that to him and then him coming up to save the day? Like 10 minutes? That's too short.
It is.
But like I said, there was, I will say this. Marvel, take a risk and do something that I'm not gonna expect. If you would have just left Cassie out there by herself I would have been like, okay, I'm invested in what else you got going on, because that's interesting at the end of the day, because that's a way to introduce Young Avengers. Make her have
Yeah.
to like assume the role.
I think they should have split up this Hope, Scott, and Hank, and then Janet and Cassie.
Yeah, but and did you, let's talk about one more thing. Let's talk about the probability. What was it, the probability storm? Or that was where they were like in that dark space, and he kept multiplying himself because it's all about the probability.
Oh shit, I forgot all about that, bro.
Had to figure that up because I thought about
Oh
it. Yeah,
wow,
I
I
thought
forgot
about
all
that.
about that. Yeah, because they had to shrink the little orb thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was cool. I
Yeah.
guess it was
How do you
cool.
like? How do you feel about?
I did Baskin Robbins Scott though. That
Yeah,
was
I
my
agree.
favorite. That was my
Yeah,
favorite one. But I don't know. I guess I expected something different, but I didn't at the same time. And
you just
then the
kind of really
fact,
didn't know what to expect when you went in there.
yeah, the fact that they made Ant-Men, like when they formed the Ant Hill,
Yeah, yeah, right.
Ant Ladder Hill. I was like, I get it.
Yeah,
It was cool though.
yeah. I wasn't.
It
I
didn't blow
didn't.
me away. It was cool though.
Yeah, it was something I was like, okay.
I'm telling you, bro, it's like I'm really not impressed with what I've seen. I hate to sound like that. Like I know people are probably gonna be like, dang, he's just hating and he just doesn't like anything. It's not that I don't like anything. I'm not impressed. It's a difference.
It's just like I think I think it goes to the idea that like, or yeah, the idea, or in my idea, the idea that we're used to the Marvel formula, so it's not like it's anything brand new. We know exactly what we're gonna get when we go in there. Like we know it
Yeah.
down to the T. We know the humor is gonna be there. We know the story bits they're not gonna really go outside the envelope on a lot of things.
Because
So when
if
we
it was
go in there,
me,
we know.
if it was me, I would have killed Scott. Somebody was gonna die. Scott, Hank, Hope, and you
Right?
know,
So
I would have had to kill off somebody because it's like we said, it's no high stakes. Everybody went home happy. It was a happy ending.
yeah,
You
because
know, once again, another happy ending.
yeah, that's why I think it should have been like in my opinion, if they were gonna kill off anybody, it should have been Scott because that would have given his daughter like the
Yeah,
motivation to assume the role and to be the young Avenger, eventually to become one of the young Avengers and have that kind of responsibility.
like
Because
some.
the whole reason that she lost her dad was because she went into the quantum realm. She messed around with something she had no idea about, and it
Mhm.
led to her dad not being around anymore. That would motivate her to be a better hero or to pick up that
Exactly,
role.
exactly. But I don't know. And even said this. I was listening to another podcast, and they mentioned that they could have even had a moment at the end when Scott was like doing his narration of, "Oh, did I kill him? Was I sure?" And when he went to get the cake at Baskin Robbins, the person that turned around and gave him the cake was Kane. But it was
Oh
like a
yeah.
weak version of him. And he freaks out because he's like, oh, I thought but and then that version of Kane is looking like confused because he's like, are you okay, sir? Because Jonathan Majors can pull that off.
Yeah.
He knows how to do that. But I don't know. I just
The,
watch these movies and give them all my money. So I'll just say these things out of a hurtful place.
I always say it like this, man. If I spend the money on it, I can have whatever opinion I want to have on it.
I'm telling you, man. It's
Like,
they gotta figure out a lane, and they gotta figure out. They almost gotta figure out an end game. Not even try. No pun intended, but they really do have to figure out an end game to this point because it's like, yeah, you can go on for years with it, but at the same time, you gotta have some kind of plan, and it's almost just like they're relying on this formula where it's, yeah, this is the villain, this is the phase, this is the show, and this is the phase. And then we'll move to the next phase, and then we'll move to the next phase. Oh, we got the Fantastic Four now, so then that's gonna be a thing, and then the mutants are coming back, and that's gonna be a thing. And it's like
they got too much stuff on the table. They got
they
too much stuff
do.
they got to move around because here's the thing. You got how like unless they just pulling out. I don't know. I don't know the thing. We're in phase. This is phase
Five,
four,
I think.
five, five. Okay, five.
Yeah.
Phase six got to do a lot of groundwork to make
Yeah.
up for the fact that they didn't really do much in phase five besides introduce a few characters, put a Kang there that really wasn't meant to be there, and the Kang Dynasty. That movie is gonna be.
Yes.
Dude, it's gonna be longer than Endgame or Infinity War because they're gonna have the same amount of characters going around and this, that, the other. Not to mention, the Guardians aren't gonna be in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure about it because this is the last project for Drax.
Yeah.
Rocket
Probably
probably.
Rocket. Yeah.
Peter Quinn. Quill. He's probably not gonna be there anymore because like they seem like they're gonna put a lot of people out. They're gonna either kill off the team or they're just gonna retire.
Yeah.
Because
dismantle the team.
yeah, because they said that this is supposed to be the last team, the last movie with that team. So like
they want to do a Secret Wars movie.
Look, you got to. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say it for Chad because you know what I'm gonna say. You're gonna have to bring in Miles for that, but I don't think they're gonna do that because can't.
No.
See how they treated Monica, right?
We're not gonna talk about that.
Or Riri.
Not gonna talk about that either.
But yeah,
But you get the point. I know some people get the point, but no, seriously though, it's I'm losing faith. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
I'm losing faith at this point. And I really tried to fight the fight and figure it out, but it really, you know what? It really started with Thor: Love and Thunder. That's what rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I gave them a chance because I was like, okay, I get it. We just came off of this movie, so
that movie had so many things that they could have done better, like in hindsight.
Then when Wakanda Forever came out, like, no, thank you. I gave that movie a 6.5, so I was like, no, thank you.
Oh, talking about ratings, what do you rate this movie? Yeah, I had to put you on the spot a little bit.
If I gave Black Panther Wakanda Forever 6.5, I might give this a 5 out of 10, bro.
Look, I remember after I went to go see it, I called it a certified meh, and that's about a 5 to 5.5 for me.
Yeah, I gotta give this a 5 out of 10. And that's crazy because the last few Marvel movies I've seen have not got higher than a 7 from me.
Agreed. Same. Like I've given them about a 7. Like it's hard. I'm feeling hard pressed to give Marvel movies now like an 8. Like it's hard.
I've rated the shows higher than some of their movies.
I agree. Yeah, we rated Miss Marvel got that rating.
I think we gave it like an 8.5.
I think 7.5 or 8 or something around there.
Yeah, I don't think we did a review for Moon Knight, but I know we said that was like a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
It was another good one. Loki is a good one.
Yeah, Loki was good.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah. But I think we gave Winter Soldier like a 7, right?
Yeah.
So as you can see, we're saying they're good, but we're not giving them like they're not getting that 8 status. They got to really work for it.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, we got Loki coming. We got Secret Invasion.
Let me see what else we got on the floor. I'm gonna look up some more.
The Marvels. I think those. Oh, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So we got four projects, and I think What If this year. So we got 5 projects coming out in a year. It's a lot. That's a lot, man.
I'm looking
at. A lot.
I'm gonna look up some more really fast to give us some more perspective. I'm looking at phase. Oh yeah, we have Daredevil coming out too.
Oh,
Ironheart series.
6. That's 7.
Blade, some point in time. Echo is coming out. Captain America: New World Order is supposed to come out.
I'm talking about like just this year.
Okay,
I named 5. I named 5 things just for
Secret
this
Invasion,
year.
Guardians, Echo, Loki season 2, Miss Marvel, Blade, Ironheart, and Agatha: Covenant of Chaos is coming out winter 23 to 24. And then we have 1, 2, 3 more projects left in phase 5 after all that. And then we're getting to phase 6, which is the Fantastic Four movie, the Kang Dynasty. And then on the back half of the Kang Dynasty, guess what we're getting?
What, Spider-Man or something?
Secret Wars.
See? Hey, man. And on that note, Dmitri, you have anything else to say to close out?
I will say this. If you liked Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania, I'm glad someone really liked it. That's what I always say. I don't want to say if you liked it, then you're wrong, because you're not. If you liked it, that's great.
It's something in there for everybody.
Cool. It's whatever you want to take it as. It's just our opinion and our opinion only. If you disagree with us, let us know out in the comments. Hit us up on our Instagram or our Facebook group.
That pesky
And Twitter, yeah, the Pisky Facebook group and on Twitter. We'll talk to you. We'll have a conversation and keep it respectful, obviously.
Yeah, man, because we ain't out here to bash nobody. We know these
Right?
people work hard to make these movies. We know the circumstances they're put under, the pressure that's put on them. So I don't at all fault the people that's behind these productions because they're
No.
just doing their jobs. So I'm not at all pointing fingers at them. We know who it is.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's
But
the
and
direction
that's why I
needs
go
to.
see it. That's why I try to go see them. I try to support those people because I have relationships with people that's in those realms of that business.
Exactly.
So yeah,
It's just the direction needs to either find a trajectory to where we know where it's gonna go, or they set up some things um that bring a threat to this villain because right now
it's not.
there isn't a threat.
It's
And
not.
I'm guessing when we got Infinity War and Endgame last time for the two-parter, I'm guessing Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars will be the back. Kang Dynasty will be the first one, and Secret Wars will be the back half. So maybe with that they'll flesh it out a lot more. But we read all those movies, and there's just nothing that gives me Kang out of those properties.
I'm telling you, and like you said with Blade, we don't even know if Blade is still happening.
We have no idea about that.
It's up in shambles right now. But hey,
Yeah,
hopefully we'll see some light at the end of the tunnel, guys.
hopefully.
We're at the end of the day, we are still fans.
But like you were saying that. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying we're just a little hurt. That's all.
Yeah. It's I don't know, but hopefully the shows are gonna push it up a little bit, and we're gonna because the Daredevil show. I'm looking forward to that. Now that I remember, I'm looking forward to that. It's 18 episodes. I'm gonna be there the entire thing.
Yeah, I'll be
But
there. Hopefully they don't get strike 3, so I'll be there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'll watch the show. I'm not putting the shows in the same strike zone as the movies. I'm not gonna.
They got their own 3 strikes.
So far, they haven't gave me a strike 1 yet.
With that being said, this has been the Square Roundtable podcast reviewing the new Antman and the Wasp Quantumania. Quantumania. And I have been your host, Dmitri.
And I'm your host, Marcus.
And we are out. Peace.